Visit airpatrolnorth.ca. Our special guest today, Darrion Nimrod. He is a young advocate for social change, and he's got his finger pointed at the NFL. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show. Coming up! Our guest today hails from Kansas City, Missouri. He is a motivational speaker, an advocate for self-care and change. He started his radio career in 2014. He is a host of the Lounge podcast. He is a champion of empowering minorities and mental health issues. He is a founder, president of the Outsiders Movement. Ladies and gentlemen, Deejay Da Don, Darrion Nimrod. DJ, thank you for being here, my friend. Good to have you on.
Thank you so much for inviting me on.
You know, on a recent podcast, I checked out your website and watched some of your podcasts, and you were described as somebody who assists young adults by giving them a safe network, a safe place to network, and to speak on issues including mental health, of course, lifestyle, business, and other things. Let's talk about the Outsiders Movement and what does this name, first of all, signify, the Outsiders Movement?
Yeah, so I started this organization when I was 17 years old, and it was just kind of a call of rebellion towards what the world would call for as far as young adults, whether it's you know, um, you know, falling in line, or older generations kind of felt like we weren't as smart, as creative, have such an impact that we would have that we have currently. And so, outsiders was just more of the fact that we're going to think outside of the box, and we're going to start this rebellion of being creative and being advocates for this generation. And that's kind of where it came.
So the website says it's okay to be different, right? It's okay to be different. You're not alone on your journey there. Can you expand on those two thoughts? Like, it's okay to be different, and I'm an outsider, but it's okay to be an outsider.
Yeah, I mean, it was mainly created for mental health and advocacy. We wanted to make sure that people did not feel left out as they were going through mental health challenges, whether it was depression, anxiety. I think back in 2010, 2013, mental health was still kind of taboo. We weren't as comfortable as we are the next decade with the challenges that come with having mental health. And so, it's okay to, you know, go through these mental health challenges. It's okay to have identity issues. It's okay that you don't fit into this world. Be okay within your identity challenges and make the best of it. And that's where outsiders comes in, where we are creating safe places, education for every age group, and young entrepreneurs, and giving them the platform to be able to showcase their abilities to others. So yeah.
One of the events you've held recently, you held the homeless event uh, during the height of COVID. Tell us about what transpired in that event.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like during that time, I was personally going through a lot of mental health issues as much as anybody else that was battling COVID. And I just kind of felt like I needed a release. And I got to join up with a couple other organizations in Austin, Texas, and was able to find a place that was very close to where a lot of the homeless community stayed in Austin. And we fed close to 2,000 people in less than 3 hours. We gave them haircuts, we gave them clothes, we gave them food, we gave them resources, and it was really, really organized. You would think that you get all these people at once, but it was really organized and orderly, and everybody was very satisfied. We had chili, we had clothes, water, and even a couple other nonprofits to help them get more resources for the homeless. So
Is Austin home now?
I currently live in Miami. Live in Miami. I moved here last year. Needed the beach, so we got a temporary stop here, and in hopes of moving back to Texas here
Okay, the beach is nice. Yeah, I like that. So, Let's move on to the Lounge podcast. I listened to a recent one where you had three guests on. You were discussing your all your mental health journeys, and what was the turning point for you? Let's talk about going through that darkest time when suicide seemed like an option, and you went through that, and how did you get through that?
Um, it was one of those things where when you again we were in mid with 2010, talking to people, talking to family about it, it just wasn't the most popular conversation to have, and it wasn't the best received. And it gets to a point when you run out of resources, or you feel like you run out of resources. Um, you feel like you have no other option. And unfortunately, that was, I was 17 at the time, and being able to, you know, it was a lot of questioning myself, questioning my worth, questioning my potential, and got to the point where I was actually going to execute the suicide attempt, and praise God that I did not. A lot of fortunate events ended up happening, and I got to build this safe place of outsiders. And when we ended up starting the radio show in 2014, 2015, there was a lot of young adults that were in similar mindsets, vocalizing their mental health journeys, feeling like they didn't fit in, and parents did not know that their children were going through this. And so when they listened to our show, they finally found out that the child were, and they were able to get the help that they needed. Speaking at conferences and being able to speak to young adults and have them feel like we really touched their heart. We're not here to, you know, impress the masses by any means. We just want a couple of people that feel similar, and feel like they need assistance, and we can be there for them. And if that grows, that's amazing. But that's kind of the journey we are on right now.
Well, there's a book that I like to read that says in there how dark it is before the dawn, and what you're in that low point, and look where you are now, and how grateful are you now that you're able to be. I mean, you're that guy that just helped all those homeless people, and I get to help a lot of people all the time, and you've reconnected with people who are like yourself, who are looking for a way to look at things differently, and aren't you glad that you you didn't succeed, as you say? Yeah, right.
Yeah, correct. I mean, I think that the most creative and successful people have been through similar challenges. You can think about the history of Hollywood, or successful athletes, whatever the case may be. And I will say that it's one of the most difficult battles you're ever going to face when it comes to mental health. And so the people that have surpassed it and have been able to make that as a redemption story, that's amazing. The people that maybe are not as strong, they need a support group. We want to be there for those people. So it's unfortunate that I did not have that at my darkest hour, but I want to make sure that it ends with me. I don't want it to, I don't want anyone else to feel like they don't have safe.
And so many people have been to that place where I struggled with my own with alcoholism, and I've come to some pretty low spots myself. But you come to that place where it just doesn't. It looks pretty hopeless, but you keep plugging away, and you put one foot in front of the other, and things do get better. And you just never know how close you are to getting past through that dark spot and into the light. So that's so important, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that it's, when you get to a point of, depression, it just feels like there's a bunch of losses that are compounding each other. And you're not really, and sometimes you might have wins in the middle of that, but it's very hard to see those. And you're only focusing on the negative. But it only takes one positive interaction for you to acknowledge, for you to start kind of building up those good things. And now you can turn those things around. So, it's just more of the fact of, what season you're in, how open are you to surpassing the season that you are in, and surrounding yourself with a support group that's going to want to see you win. And I was fortunate to have that, and I want to be that for other people.
There's a quote here from a recent interview you did where you quoted Maya Angelou. Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better. How do you apply this to your life and now business?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still fairly young. I'm 28. I would not think that I know everything. So early in my career, I was just using what I thought that I knew, and there was a lot of learning lessons that I had to learned, and a lot of connections that I lost, and a lot of bridges that I burned, and to make sure that I never make that mistake again, and to continue to compile the knowledge that I have from networking from others, and setting myself as an example. Once I know better, I can do better, and once I'm able to do better, I can set the example for other people. And so that's kind of, I never aim to be perfect. I don't expect perfection from anyone, but all you can do is just learn from mistakes. And move forward.
Yeah, and you know what? When you're I guess when you're faith driven, when you feel like you've got some some power, and you feel like you've got some momentum, you could take on some big issues like the NFL, uh, hot
Yeah,
button issue with the NFL. I mean, this is the juggernaut, right? So,
yeah,
Commissioner
yeah.
Roger Goodell, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, Buffalo Bills owner Terry Pegula, all facing a lawsuit from former NFL reporter Jim Trotter. Tell us about Jim's plight and why he decided to get involved in this.
Yeah, so Jim Trotter he's an NFL analyst. Well, he was a former NFL reporter, and he's been tackling issues for young black and brown people for years. And there's been constant conferences where he's trying to figure out, is there any equity when it comes to people of color. And when he questions Roger Goodell when it comes to some of these issues, it's a very vague answer, and there's lack of answers, and it leads to him losing his job. And that's not any surprise, when we're dealing with like Colin Kaepernick situation, and even the initiatives that have been led towards during this time. We got current events where it's the Bills owner saying racist comments. We have Jerry Jones that are saying racist comments. And you got to understand that the NFL is 60 to 65% of black and brown people. And so, and then when you think about the viewers, it's similar. We are the majority that watches it. So, how far do we have to go when it comes to performance and support before we start being an advocate on the NFL side, where there's a reciprocity for our issues? Because there are other leagues that don't have these issues. Like the NBA does not have this issue. When there comes to NFL, or when it comes to the NBA and social issues, they are standing at the forefront. Whether it was, you know, all of the police shootings that were happening back in 2020, 2019, or the owner Chris Bellimer that ended up getting fired for his racist comments. We just don't have those issues. But in the NFL, it's just like they stand proud with having these issues, and it has to change.
So I'm going to add some context to this. So Pagula reportedly said if black players don't like it, they should go back to Africa. And Jerry Jones, if blacks feel some kind of way, they should buy their own team and hire who they want to hire. Are you surprised by that kind of rhetoric? And what was it? By what we hear here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I'm really surprised. I think Jerry Jones has said multiple controversial things. And I don't think that it's really surprising. I think what is more surprising is that there's players that will want to play. I don't think that's the issue. You have your star quarterback that is African American. You have your star linebacker Michael Parsons that is African American. Trayvon Diggs, C.D. Lamb, all these guys that could stand up to Jerry Jones if they feel like, but unfortunately they don't. And there's a lot of factors that could lead up to that. With while the NBA, when I compare the NBA, we have to acknowledge that they get a fully guaranteed contract. They can sit out for a year. They can play all year. Their contract is guaranteed. In the NFL, they just now started getting guaranteed contracts. And when it comes to someone who's new to the league that does not is not rolling in $40 million a year, they might not have the resources to be able to support. But the stars of the NFL should be able to stand up, whether it's Patrick Mahomes, whether it is Dak Prescott, whether it is the Jalen Hurts of the world. But unfortunately, we don't have that yet, and it needs to happen.
So it would be very helpful if some of these guys stood up and said something. It would be very helpful if it happened like right now.
I mean, I think that a little bit too much time has passed. I think when the situation took place, that was the preseason. So, and it's been happening the last couple of years. When those situations take place, there needs to be someone standing there to stand up for it. Even the president of the NFLPA, someone has to stand up for these issues and not just make it seem like it's, no issue at all. Because I'm sure it rubs players the wrong way, but unfortunately, there's not a safe place given for them to speak without any penalty. And then you also got to acknowledge there's one minority African American owner in the NFL for the Washington Commanders, Magic Johnson. So therefore there's not multiple owners that they can kind of advocate for their issues and feel like there's no penalty for speaking out.
Well, you were on the Monday Mirror show on mainstream sports in Atlanta recently, and you had this to say about the NFL's Rooney Rule. Let's play that clip, Vic.
I mean, it was created to cover the tracks, so to speak. It was made pretty early. It was made in 03. So it hasn't often been retouched on. But I know in 2020 they were saying they definitely wanted to establish that they are setting interviews up for minority head coach candidates, minority general managers, execs. And so, they're getting the interviews, but, there's one name that continuously floats around, and, Eric Bieniemy should definitely be he should definitely be a head coach somewhere if the Rooney Rule was definitely something that was effective, if that makes sense.
What kind of rule would you drop today to make things a little bit more equal?
It's the Rooney Rule is, just creating that rule just kind of acknowledge that there is an imbalance, but it's not really a rule that has to be made. It needs to be a conversation with all of the owners to understand why we are not getting them and why do they feel like black and brown people should not be in those positions. And if they can be transparent about those conversations, we can move forward. But without any transparency, without any honesty, then we cannot move forward. I can pass a rule today, does not mean they're going to follow it. And that's how the Rooney Rule has came into effect. He gave me a rule. I interviewed him. I didn't hire him, but that's what the rule says. So therefore I did my part. And unfortunately, like, no one's challenging that rule. No one's updating that rule to make it prominent. So, it just needs to be more of a transparent conversation. And understanding that there are a lot of black and brown people, minority people that can sit in those roles and can succeed. And we just saw our first woman GM for the Marlins just step down. It's 2023. We just had the first woman GM. So it's these situations just need to be more talked about and more accepted. And that's more of the world perception. And that's something that we have to work with as a planet, and not just as an organization to accept.
Well, in Canada, the CFL is had numerous coaches, general managers of color, and it's been going on for a long time. I mean, I sort of equate it to the Underground Railroad of back in the day when freedom seekers came to Canada to get a chance. It happened again. It happened in the 1970s when Warren Moon, other black quarterbacks, Chuck Healy, came to Canada because they couldn't get a chance to play in the NFL. Take Ely, for example, great college quarterback at the University of Toledo. He never lost a game at high school in Portsmouth, Ohio, or Toledo. He was named All-American, totally ignored by the NFL. Had a chance to come to Canada, play 1972. He's a rookie of the year in the CFL, and he led the Ticats to the Grey Cup championship in his first season, 13-10 over Saskatchewan. Then a few years later, Condredge Holloway, his grandfather was a slave. He was the first black high school All-American baseball player in Tennessee history, drafted in the first round by the Expos. But his mom insisted they to go to college, so he went to college to play baseball and football. He's the first black quarterback in SEC history. The Artful Dodger was his nickname. He guided the Volunteers to the Blue Bonnet Bowl one year, Gator Bowl next year, and the Liberty Bowl the next year. Had a record of 25-9-2. Best interception to attempts ratio in Tennessee history, throwing just 12 interceptions in 407 collegiate attempts. Drafted in the 12th round by the New England Patriots as a defensive back. He only wanted to play quarterback. He came to Canada, led the Argos to their first Grey Cup title in 35 years. And of course, we have Warren Moon from the University of Washington, a star, Pac-8 Player of the Year, Rose Bowl MVP. Had to come to Canada to be a quarterback. Led Edmonton, the Edmonton team, to 5 straight Grey Cup titles between 78 and 82. 2-time Grey Cup MVP. 6 years in the CFL, finally got a shot, ended up playing 17 years in the NFL, so he got a chance to play and stick around and was the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year. But you see the difference is it's slow. The NFL is slow to change, and now we've reached another point, haven't we? We reached a point where it's time to catch up, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you bring up great points when it comes to the players. And I think that the NFL has made their efforts to that change. When it comes to, you know, African American quarterbacks, we have countless of them now starting week one. We have, again, the majority of the players are African American, so we don't have the issue back to what we had in 1970. But now the issue is now like now we've got an entry level employment. What do we get? What do we do when we get to executive employment? And we can be assistants, we can be wide receivers coach, quarterbacks coach, X, Y, and Z. But why can we not be head coaches? Why can we not be general managers or owners? And that's where we are falling behind. That's where we're dropping the ball. And unfortunately, until we have those conversations, we are not going to, we will not have that much pride into the NFL. We're going to always be fans. There was a lot of fans that boycotted Colin Kaepernick for the flag, but it was short lived. And I mean, even Colin Kaepernick is begging to get back in the league. So, but when it comes to these issues as far as executives employment, we have to see that to show true support. And when situations happen where there's hate crimes that are happening to our people, we want advocates. We're advocating for every other country. We're advocating for every other issue, but we're not advocating for us and the people that are actually fully employed in your organization.
Yeah, and there's I brought up the fact that Warren Moon and Condredge Holloway and Chuck Healy came to the CFL, got a chance to play where they couldn't in the States. Of course, we've had our own issues in Canada as well. I mean, I did a two-part series about Herb Carnegie with his daughter Bernice, and Herb was the best hockey player in history to not play in the NHL, and the only reason there's only one reason why he wasn't allowed to play in the NHL, and that was because of the color of his skin. So, and also when you talk about diversity, the NHL can hardly pat themselves on the back. I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but recently the players are not allowed to use rainbow tape on their hockey sticks anymore. It's something that players were using as a way to express their support to members of the LGBTQ community, and
Yeah,
show their support. But they weren't. Now they're not even allowed to use rainbow colored hockey tape. So it is. It's not just in the NFL, but Jim Trotter could have easily um, taken a settlement, gone away quietly, but he chose to stick to his guns and follow this through. And how important is that? And how important is Jim's plight in terms of society in general?
yeah. I think that that's the issue is that when you look at multiple scandals when it comes to the NFL, whether it's the CTE settlements, the insurance settlements, the you know all of these things that like even the Colin Kaepernick, they're constantly being bailed out instead of being held accountable. And I think Jim Trotter is a person that's just like, listen, I'm not one of your players. You can't just buy me out to be quiet. It's my job to report the news. And it would probably enhance his career by winning this, by seeing this through. And so, but there has to be a level of accountability, and Jim Trotter is willing to take that stand for it, and it won't hurt his career at all for taking a stand on like a player or former player, just because it's his job to report the news. It just has to change, and he should be applauded.
Jim says there's no progress without sacrifice, right? We have to put ourselves out there a little bit if we want to see some progress. When I think back, to Colin Kaepernick and what he went through for taking a knee for social change and as an advocate for social change, and he took a lot of heat from a lot of places, including NFL owners and other people. I look at that, and then I watch games today when there's like one betting infomercial after another, and one you tell me it's okay. It's okay to have like one betting commercial after another betting commercial and trying to turn young people on to betting and trying to get their money out of them and from in terms of sports betting. But it's not cool to take a knee. And I just to me the that's such a the discrepancy is so obvious. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about what agenda does the person that's showing the commercials are going to be. Obviously the NFL is partnered with multiple sports betting companies, especially now that sports betting is legal, and I'm sure they get a cut in all of those sports betting, bets. But when it comes to like, if you even pay attention to this last week, that everyone was kneeling for, the Israel and Palestine, war that's going on. you know, that has nothing to do with the United States of America. All due respect, that has nothing to do with the United States of America. And so, to be okay to kneel for that, but not kneel for social justice and change that's happening in our country, is bothersome. It did Colin Kaepernick a disservice, and it was disrespectful. Just because of the fact that there was a lot of penalty just for him doing that for our country, and we just think we mock it, and instead we're going to go ahead, kneel, and all of this stuff for something that has nothing to do with us. Respectful.
Yeah, I mean, he ended up being, I think, he was named the man of the year by maybe one of the major
Time.
magazines. Time, yeah,
Yeah, he was.
man of the year. Pretty
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, yeah, because they recognize the silliness of the pushback. It was just it was an excuse. It really was an excuse, but we
Yeah.
need to be better. What? Okay, so what uh what would you like to see come out of all this? I like to say in a perfect scenario, say 6 months or to a year from now, what kind of policies you want to see the NFL have in place? Where you want to see Jim Trotter's um, journey end up?
I mean, hopefully Jim Trotter's work comes to something. Hopefully he's not eventually going to fold and just take the settlement, or or the NFL is going to blacklist him for all these things. But hopefully he breaks a story. Hopefully it leads to some truth being told. And then no true change is going to happen for another 6 years until the new CBA that's made for the NFL, where there needs to be a level of accountability, for the owners and the NFL, and the players need to lead that charge. You got to remember in the early 2000s there was a lockout just because they felt like they wanted more pay, or they wanted, like, they will fight hard for pay. But we need to be able to fight hard for everything that affects our lives every single day. And these, like, having ownership position to dictate what they can say and what you cannot say, and a sense of control. And if it's just about you getting paid and that's it, you're going to get paid regardless. And especially since college football is paying you so much money, you don't even have to rush to be pro. So therefore, there's no penalty. It's not as high of a penalty as it was in the past where you weren't getting paid for your efforts back in college days. So it needs to be a level of accountability. And the only people that can lead that is the players and the fans.
Okay, and so where are we going to see the outsiders heading?
And
What's on the
man, listen,
agenda?
Outsiders is looking great for 2024. We have a couple of social and community events that are coming up, in Austin, Texas. A homeless initiative that's going to be in, Kansas City, Missouri, and then we also are going to be doing some networking parties, in 3 states next year. So a lot of great things are happening next year. We're excited. We're just putting some building blocks together to be ready. So when we go full steam next year, we'll be good to go. So,
Okay, final question for you, DJ. What's the best advice you've ever received?
oh man, uh, I think that it's just more of like, don't be afraid to fail. Like, there's a lot of lessons in failure. There's a lot of lessons, um, that entrepreneurs have to take, when you're starting out. And if you're so aimed at being perfect, you're so aimed at not making an error, then you're not going to learn any lessons. And the amount of lessons that I've learned in 11 years, has led me to be where I am today. I would do it all over again if it led me to where I am today to be on this show. So I definitely appreciate, you bringing me on the show. But yeah, like, you can't be afraid to fail. And I'm sure even you have had failures that made you a better person and a better talk show host today. So yeah.
Yeah, you never grow if you don't take a chance. You just don't. You gotta put yourself out there sometimes. It's good. So anyway, Darrion, thank you for taking the time to join us. Once again, check DJ out at outsidersmovement.com, the Outsiders Movement on Instagram, or at DJ Da Don, at DJ Da Don. Thank you for taking this time to join us, DJ. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. More sports when we come back.
What our kids breathe matters more than ever. But how can you tell if a school is safe to breathe in? If you could actually see what's in the air, would you keep them home? Introducing Air Patrol, making the invisible visible, ensuring schools are safer for everyone. Breathe safely.
My Swiss pick of the week. Last week, I had a strong hunch on the 7th race on Friday's card, Woodbine. The number 3 horse, Lady Brew, went off at 7-1 with Ryan Munger in the irons. Inventing had the lead at the top of the stretch, but Lady Brew was well positioned, pulled out the deep stretch, pulled away, paying $17.80 to win. Beyond My Budget got up for second. Steven Sherkop was the winning trainer for JDLP Holdings. I am now on a 7-race win streak, folks, in the top 2 for 9 in a row. Okay, this week, I'm going to Thursday night's opening race at Woodbine. Lantana Lady, the 4-horse ridden by Ryan Munger, trained by Steve Vittard, seems to be the best of the field. A couple wins in 2023. I'll also take the 246 Exactor and Triactor. Go to woodbine.com for all the latest racing info, replays on YouTube. You can also get the latest from Woodbine Thoroughbred, Woodbine Standardbred on Instagram and X. Go to hpibet.com, darkhorsebets.com, and Bet365 for your wagering options.
Discover the finest patio experience in Toronto at the Stella Artois Terrace. Situated on the 3rd floor of Woodbine Racetrack, delight in mouth-watering shared appetizer and raise a toast to the evening. Relish expertly prepared main courses that will tantalize your taste buds. Capture the beauty of sunsets. Indulge in delectable desserts. Secure your reservation today and immerse yourself in the excitement of the races. Enjoy an unparalleled view of the thrilling finish line.
Well, it's a special place, and the food is great. The atmosphere, it's really a nice experience.
Experience the enchantment of Stella Artois Terrace. Open 4 days a week. Undoubtedly the city's premier patio destination.
Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Attention security seekers. Ready to take control? Introducing Corporate Protection and Investigative Services, your ultimate solution. Retailers tired of losing profits to theft? Our retail loss prevention experts have you covered. Mobile patrol, close body protection, insured door persons, we've got your security needs covered from all angles. Background investigations and civil recovery programs, trust us for thorough solutions. Licensed by the Ministry of Solicitor General, fully insured and bonded. Visit www.corporateprotection.ca or call 1-800-827-1692 for top-notch security and private investigation services. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. With local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more, their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more. And we want to thank all the folks who make this show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great folks. We highly recommend them all. Thank you for your support of Canadian and local sports. A reminder that the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public Podcast, Pocket Cast, as well as the Spanglish Network, Zingo TV, and Buzz TV Live. Also, check out the show on YouTube. All of our past great shows are on there. We got some clips on there, some shorts. It's lots of fun. Like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Thanks once again to Darrion Nimrod for being on the show. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678.
Air quality at work matters more than ever, but there's no way to tell if a space is safe to breathe in. If you could actually see what's in the air, would you even come to work? Introducing Air Patrol, making the invisible visible, ensuring workplaces are safer for everyone. Breathe safely.
Rooted in 60 years of tradition, Sleepy Hollow is a private golf club with a friendly community of members just minutes from Toronto. With mature trees and rolling fairways, Sleepy Hollow provides a challenging and enjoyable experience for passionate golfers. Enjoy great golf, amazing dining, and a picturesque patio second to none. Visit SleepyHollowCountryClub.com. Hi there, I'm Joe Tilley. Are you ready for an adventure of a lifetime? Next March, during the enchanting cherry blossom season, join me and my wife for an unforgettable 2-week journey to Japan and South Korea. In Japan, you'll experience the magic of the season as we visit the stunning Osaka Castle against a backdrop of cherry blossoms. Feed the adorable Sikadira Nara Park, glide through picturesque landscapes on the famed bullet train, cruise on Lake Kawaguchi, and witness the awe-inspiring view of Mount Fuji. Relax in natural hot springs and savor a delightful Fuji dinner banquet while dressing in traditional robes. And of course, we'll dive into Tokyo's cutting-edge technology scene. In Korea, dress in elegant hanbok attire and step back in time at Cheongdokgung Palace. Wander through Andong Village, a true glimpse into Korea's rich heritage. Delight your taste buds with the flavors of Korean barbecue. We'll even visit the DMZ area to get a glimpse of mysterious North Korea. And guess what? This incredible journey is all yours for just $54.99, all-inclusive, with direct flights from Vancouver, or $58.99 from Toronto. Book now to unlock up to an extra $1,700 in upgrades and savings. Let's make some memories. Let's explore. Let's travel.
Guests on Joe Tilley Sports receive a gift certificate from Classica Imports. Top of the line imported men's clothing. Check out the Classica Essential Collection now. Go to shopclassica.com.